Hey gang, welcome back to West Houston Presents. Today's guest, well known as a founding member of the trio Red Molly, struck out on her own in 2010 and has since carved out an impressive list of gigs and recordings. Today we find out what keeps her keeping on as West Houston presents Carolann Solebello.
Bless me, Father, for I have been poster girl for every sin. Ran roughshod on the Virgin Mother, so I ran off to find another, far from home. Said goodnight to this town. I was gone before the sun went down. I was lost, still I ain't been found. I set out to find a way to inner peace and steady pay. I looked hard for holy visions in shopping malls and subdivisions. Found no home. Said goodnight to my soul. Jesus wept in that great big hole, throwing rocks. But still I run. Hey. Bless me, Father, tell me please, why must you keep us on our knees? I will confess, say your prayer, oh, but I'm not sure of anywhere that is home, home. Oh, my home, home.
Excellent song. Welcome to West Houston Presents, Carolann. I'd like to give a little shout out to my buddy Bob Westcott, who turned me on to your music to begin with, and I went on YouTube and I said, wow, great songs, great singing, good guitar player too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, are you from the area?
I am. I grew up in the South, in Staten Island, New York.
Oh, okay. South Staten Island.
In the South.
South New York City. Excellent. And how about your family? Were they into music? Were you turned on to, you know?
My family, nobody was a performer in my family, but there was always music in the house. My folks really enjoyed Motown and doo-wop, especially. There was a lot of doo-wop going on in the house when I was young. My father is a good singer, although he never sang in public.
Okay, doo-wop is a great start. I mean,
Yeah.
doo-wop is a blend of, like, you know, standards. I mean, the Moonglows, the Ravens, they all did, like, standards, you know.
Yeah.
Red Sails in the Sunset, things like that. Turn you on to the Great American Songbook.
Yeah.
If you listen closely to doo-wop. And what led you to this kind of, what would you, I hate putting people in bag, but I hear, like, I guess in the overall it would be the Americana bag.
Yeah.
But you lean tons, like, kind of like almost like mountainy. What got you there?
Oh yeah, I started playing guitar for seriously when I was in college. I went to Fordham University. They have a wonderful radio station there called WFUV, and I heard a lot of acoustic music there. I heard Judy Collins, I heard Joan Baez, I heard Suzanne Vega, and people like that who were just coming up in the late '80s, and got turned on, started playing the guitar. And later, in a career as an actor, I found myself in Eastern Tennessee, which was a mind-blowing experience for me musically. I was doing a theatrical production outdoors in the mountains there, and I met string band players. I was turned on to the music of people like Patsy Cline and Johnny Cash for the first time. I mean, I didn't hear that growing up in New York City. I just didn't. So that was tremendous for me, and I learned how to play mountain style to some degree, you know, with a little New York edge.
Okay, so did you also get into the earlier, like Frank Prophet and Gene Ritchie and that?
Later I came, yeah, Gene Ritchie
okay.
I was turned on to while I was down there too. Gene Ritchie and the Carter family. I discovered,
yeah.
never heard of them in my life.
Really?
Never heard of Bill Monroe until I went
That's
to
wild.
Tennessee.
Well, when you really delve into the Carter family, you know, like people like Woody Guthrie and the later writers used a lot of their melodies for their most famous songs.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. I guess that's what they call the folk process.
I think Woody
know?
was proud of not. I think he said something once about if you ever catch me writing an original melody, you know, smack me. He was very dedicated actually to using those old melodies.
I'm sure nobody smacked him much.
No.
Now, if you're home now and you're throwing something on the CD player, what would it be? I mean,
it varies. We have an extensive collection at home. I gravitate towards female singers. I still do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, and I'm glad to say that I have a 7-year-old son, and he often gets to pick the music at dinner time. The other night he picked Patsy Cline. The night before he picked Patty Griffin. So I think we're raising him with pretty good taste.
Now here's my advice: lean me towards Sarah Vaughan, Dinah Washington, and Ella Fitzgerald at some point.
Ella.
The other female singers.
Ella and Patsy are in the top genreless singers to me.
Excellent.
You know.
Now, what was the name of the tune you just played?
That's called Home.
That's a great song.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really like it. And what's the name of the next tune you're going to do?
The next tune I'm going to do steals a little bit of melody or a little bit of progression from the doo-wop world. It's called Behind the Door.
We're ready.
All right. Me too.
Baseball cards and cigarettes, flowered skirts and castanets, muddy boots and no regrets. Ain't no strangers here, flying kites and baby dolls, faded paper at St. Paul's, a reach too high and everybody falls. Ain't no mercy here, she swept everything behind the door, folded neat, then locked the drawer. Everything she knew before don't much matter anymore. Singing low, riding high, twisted music melts the sky, a ringing phone with no reply. Ain't no answers here, she swept everything behind the door, drew the blinds, then closed the store. Everything she knew before don't much matter anymore. Scatter the ash to the wind, take it like a man, square on the chin, choke it down with a tonic and gin, believe. Blue-eyed bourbon whiskey smile, hit somewhere in a pile. Now she descends in single file. Ain't no shadows here, she swept everything behind the door, shattered, scattered on the floor. Everything she knew before don't much matter. No, she swept everything behind the door. Quote
Hey, thank goodness you folks play doo-wop, 'cause that's a great song.
Thank you.
In fact, now let's talk songs for a minute. Can you take me a little into the songwriting head?
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
is it every day you get a bottle of bourbon and sit at the kitchen table, or?
The bourbon can help sometimes, but most of the time it's coffee. Coffee,
Okay.
definitely coffee. It's funny you should ask that because I'm in the middle of, or just past the middle of a year-long songwriting project called Real Women, Real Songs. Every week, I am assigned to write a song on a topic, and there are 14 of us women in this crazy project. And not only do we write a song every week, but we post that song on YouTube, on the internet, for the whole world to see in its raw and unvarnished form. So I've written 32 songs in 33 weeks.
What a brag.
I've never done anything like that before in my life.
Well, it's a good stimulus, right? I mean, you have a project going on.
Yeah.
Gee, that's good. I got to stop hanging around with plumbers and bus drivers and get some songwriters in my
I'm hanging by a thread, Wes, but you know.
Yeah, yeah. And, well, that's good. And does that inspire you to keep going and, like, you know, take it from there and snowball and write more songs?
Oh,
and,
yeah. I mean, it's just, it's been an incredible impetus to me. I also go, you know, songwriting can be a very isolating kind of thing, especially if you write alone, you know, and I usually do. But I also, every Monday night, I go to a group of songwriters, a peer group, where started by Jack Hardy. I don't know if you knew Jack Hardy.
You got Johnny well.
Yeah, Jack passed away a couple years ago, but the songwriting group that he started in Manhattan goes on. It's been happening for 30 years or more now. People get together, they play songs for each other, brand new songs, you know, we drink a little wine, we talk about the songs, we tell, you know, we help each other make it a better song, you know, and that's been invaluable to me. I've been going there for about a year and a half now.
I go to a little group meeting every Monday, too. Jack Hardy was a good friend of mine. I met him back in the early 70s, and, you know, he's a great songwriter. In fact, I have a little cassette tape. I went up to his apartment one day, and we swapped songs, and, you know, one of those cassette players, you know, and someday someone might like to hear that tape. I still have it. Are you a big reader? Do you read a lot?
Yes, I do.
That's a good inspiration.
I was an English major in college, so yes.
Wow. Boy, you're a bragger.
Hey.
Anyway,
I'm trying to justify my existence as a
I'm only
songwriter.
teasing you. And the guitar fits in really well in your songs. Do you spend a lot of time like working the pieces out where, you know, the appropriate guitar playing for the song?
I'm constantly working on that. I'll tell you, when I first started, I just was accompanying myself. But then later I realized, well, if it's going to be just me and a guitar on stage, I better, sometimes I play with a band, but if it's going to be me and a guitar, there's better be a part. There better be something interesting. I can't play like Jimi Hendrix or, those crazy bluegrass players.
But right for the tune.
That's what I'm looking for.
You know, now, is that kind of set in stone? I mean, once you learn the little piece and it goes with the, you leave it?
Yeah, I usually leave it. I mean, not to say it doesn't evolve, because sometimes I'll play with other players and things will be a little different, or like, and especially if I'm playing with a band, I play a lot less. It's like I let the band take other parts, which is cool,
well, of course, that expands
that.
everything. Yeah. And who are some of your favorite songwriters?
Oh, wow. Right off the top of my head, the first songwriter that comes to mind is Joni Mitchell. She is the queen, lyrics were her thing. And I mean,
and what a guitar player.
And what a guitar player. Not enough is said about.
And, oh man.
And she's respected all around. Like, you talk to people, I have friends in the jazz world, and they talk about Joni as like a great jazz writer.
Well, remember she did that thing with Tom Scott and the LA Express for quite a while.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, she worked with some of the top jazz players, and she just was able to capture. She was the queen of the confessional songwriters, of course, for a while, but that didn't remain. But she was still able to tap into human emotion and really make you feel something with her song. They were like intellectual and emotional at the same time.
Great songwriter, great songwriter. Now, what's the name of the next tune we're going to do?
The next tune, I'm going to display a little bit of my Tennessee influence. When I went down south to work, this is called Empty House.
Empty House. We're ready for the Empty House.
See that house upon the hillside, sheltered by a towering pine, lilacs bloom, curtains flutter till yesterday I thought it mine. Her shutters wear a new coat of scarlet, her doors are tall, her windows wide. But if you glance beyond the threshold, you will not find a blessed thing inside. This empty house was mine to borrow, given only as a loan. So now this house holds only sorrow. An empty house is not a home. Her mirrors shine in sparkling wonder. Her oaken floors are dear and fine, but now no fire warms the hearthstone. Her cupboards hold no vintage wine. This empty house is mine to borrow, given only as a loan. So now this house holds only sorrow. An empty house is not a home. Still she stands there on the hillside, a barren queen upon her throne. I filled my house with worthless beauty. Fill your house with love alone. This empty house was mine to borrow, given only as a loan. So now this house holds only sorrow. An empty house is not a home. This empty house was mine to borrow, given only as a loan. So now this house holds all my sorrow. An empty house is not a home. An empty house is not a home.
You're slaying me here. Great tunes.
Thanks.
Now, can most of these tunes you're playing today be found in your CD catalog?
Yes, yes, so far, yes. The ones I played today.
Good, terrific. Now, when you're recording, tell me a little bit about, you know, when you're in the studio. Overdubbing, I mean, you like to just do it live, or?
Depends. I'm glad you asked that because I'm working on a new record now where it's all overdubs. Last record I did was I worked with a live band, and I love that. I love, you know, we had enough isolation to do the drums in one room and the bass in another room, and the upright bass, and me on the guitar, and that we did as much possible live, and that was great. It was great energy. This time round, I kind of wanted to do something a little differently, so I went in the studio, did guitar and vocals, and I have a producer, Fred Gillen Jr. from Westchester. He has overlaid electric guitars and percussion and like a nice bed of sound. We were kind of using Emmylou Harris's last crop of records, the most recent crop of records that she's done with Dan.
You mean as a blueprint?
As a blueprint, yes,
Nice.
definitely, because it's like the song still stands up, you know, on its own, but it's got support under it, you know, like it's not like people are going to miss the sound of a live band. At least this is what we're hoping for.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, when I go and play out, because I'm going to show up mostly by myself when I show up. That's coming out in a couple of months. New record.
Well, you have to have a lot of faith in your producer to do
I
this,
do,
because
yeah.
you know, he's half of the program at that
That's
point.
right.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? And you know, you're really putting a lot in there. And what label are you on? Is this a self-produced?
Yes, I have my own label called Elizabeth Records. I put records out by other people too over the years.
Oh, you
so,
do?
Yeah,
That's
I think we
interesting.
have.
Good.
I think the new record will be the 11th or the 12th title that we have out on Elizabeth Records, and they're not all mine. So
Terrific.
Yeah.
And I remember reading something that you had to kind of par down from 25 to a dozen tunes for the album?
Yeah.
How do you do that? What's the process?
Part of that is the trusted producer. Fred and I have been working together for a long time. We're good friends, and this is the third album I've worked on with Fred, so I trust his taste. If I send him a big mishmash of songs, you know, he's able to say, well, this one maybe we can save for another project, and this one, these hang together, and this is really good. And we worked, it was totally a collaborative process.
So you like them to kind of like have a thread running through them.
Yes.
So it makes sense when people listen to it.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there that's going to throw anybody. It's a whole enjoyable 60-minute experience for them.
I'm old-fashioned in that way.
Like
an album, you know.
Yeah.
I know that
Well,
that's a dying format, people tell me,
you
but I
know,
don't know.
since you're putting out albums, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Now, on your live shows, what would be the live show prep? Or, you
For
know,
myself?
Yeah, when you go to do concerts. Most of your concerts are, I mean, you play anywhere they want you to play, really, right?
I play a lot of Unitarian churches. Tonight I'm playing at a synagogue up in Westchester. I play, you know, there's a lot of concert series. I play some clubs, but it's a lot of, the folk music world is centered around concert series set in various unconventional spaces.
Right.
Sometimes
and there's
house
some
concerts.
outdoors shows,
Sometimes
you know, like the
outdoors.
Falcon Ridge and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. And you pretty much show up and you're ready to go. I mean, you warm up and,
I'm
you know.
pared down. Right now, it's usually me. Tonight I'm playing with an electric guitar player, Aviv Roth from Brooklyn.
Okay.
Occasionally I do that just to spice up the sound a little bit.
Nice.
And
Nice.
yeah, it's a very much a change from a band. I show up, I plug in, I play, and I'm good.
It's a nice way to go.
Yeah.
And you book yourself, right?
I do book myself,
Terrific.
yes. Yeah.
How about another tune?
Yeah, can I have a minute to tune up? Because
Sure.
I have a feeling I just knocked my guitar out of tune. But
Well, that.
this is for all. I come from a long line of civil servants in New York City. Police officers, firefighters, sanitation workers populate my family. This is for them.
Today I looked in the mirror and I saw my father's face. Tired eyes and broken nose, he slightly out of place. He spent his whole life working, taking garbage for a ride. He took his one vacation straight to the other side. But no one can tell me he ain't been around. He never been to China, but he'd been to Chinatown. Now I meet some fancy people wearing suits to show their clout, waving fancy gold and plastic. They don't leave home without. I drive them to the airports when they flag me down, and they leave me backseat souvenirs, ticket stubs, plastic crowns. Someday I'll buy a ticket and fly out of this town. But until I do, I'll see the world when it flags me down. 'Cause no one can tell me I ain't been around. I've never been to China, but I've been to Chinatown.
Carolann Solebello, one of the finest songwriters we've had on West Houston Presents in 13 years, gang. What we need you to do is go to CarolannSolebello.com. You'll catch all the bio, the photos, the CD availability, and the performance schedule. Once again, thanks so much, Carolann, for coming down to West Houston Presents. And gang, we'll catch you next time around.